Happy New Year, everyone. 2020 is over. I woke up this morning, January 1st, 2021, to a stimulus check in my bank account. Thank you for joining me. My name is Cherie, and I watched 238 movies last year. Now, of those, only 14 were actually released in the year 2020. That's why this video is not called My Favorite Films of 2020, but rather my favorite films that I watched during 2020. Of those 238 films, there were about 10 that I just absolutely hated, but there were about 70 that I loved so much I would definitely watch them again. Now, just a quick recap. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, all the movie theaters in my area were basically shut down. The last film I saw at the Cinelux was on March 3rd, 2020, and that was The Invisible Man. So since then, I've been watching movies on DVDs, VHS tapes, and streaming platforms like Canopy, Hoopla, Netflix, and HBO Max. I'm going to start off with my least favorite films watched in 2020. Some of these might be a bit controversial because a few are critically acclaimed and might even garner Oscar nominations in March, but I didn't like them. So, number one, The Assistant. This was a film written and directed by an Australian who, in my mind, has never really worked in an entertainment office. I have, and it didn't ring true for me. And I know it's very topical, but I think it was executed poorly. Number two, Brain Dead. I ended up watching the 2007 movie Brain Dead when I should have been watching the 1992 Brain Dead by Peter Jackson. Number three, The Butterfly Effect, starring Ashton Kutcher. This was just a really depressing movie, and I just don't like spending time on depressing films. Number four, Climax. Please do not let your actors improvise. What that says to me is you didn't have a good script. Just get a good script. Don't let the actors improvise. Number five, Destination Wedding, starring Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder. When I researched this, I found out that it was written and directed by a former TV writer, and you could really tell because it was really talky and very uncinematic. Number six, Hurly Burly. I will discuss this along with another film coming up. Number seven, Joker. Another really depressing film. This is not entertainment to me. I don't want to watch these kinds of movies. Number eight, The Lady from Shanghai, starring Orson Welles. And, because it's Orson Welles, I would have thought would have been good, but it was pretty horrible. It was pretty all over the place and just a bad script. And yeah, I saw another one with Orson Welles this year called The Stranger. That one was actually better. Number nine, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. What? How could I put that on my worst list? Well, I'll tell you, and this is the same problem that Hurly Burly has. I cannot stand movies whose source material is obviously a play. They're dialogue heavy, just too much dialogue, and they're uncinematic. And yes, there were two great performances, Chadwick Boseman and Viola Davis, and they both deserve acting nominations, but the movie itself, I will never watch that again. And finally, number 10, The Tree of Life. Yeah, no, don't. As for my favorite films, there are so many that I've decided not to talk about each one individually, but I've just created a little montage, stuck some music on it, and divided the movies into categories. So there are 4 or 5 recommendations in each category, and here it is. Now, just a quick recap of my achievements for 2020. I took 3 online filmmaking courses, and in those courses I completed 11 different short projects. I polished up my 2019 NaNoWriMo script, Dumpster Donna, and submitted that to 4 screenplay competitions. Even though I didn't win any of them, I did place in the top 20% for the Nickel Fellowship, which is a great achievement. And I worked on my horror script, Highway 17, for this year's NaNoWriMo. And finally, my goals for 2021, which are all very doable. The first is to complete my Highway 17 screenplay. Also to read more screenplays, because last year I only read a total of 19, and I have 167 waiting on my computer to be read. So what I plan to do is, for every 2 movies I watch, I have to read 1 screenplay. I plan to get my film degree. I have 3 classes left, and so I should be able to complete that by my birthday at the end of June. I want to pay off my credit card debt, and I want to make yoga a daily practice and lose the COVID 8 pounds that I gained during the initial shelter in place. I'd love to hear what your 2021 goals are, and also what films you saw in 2020 and really enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.